Hey there my lovely blender makers, this is a short video to let you know that Precision Gears 0.16 is finally out, and this is just sort of a holdover video because I'm going to be doing an entire video about the update and going into a lot more detail. But just before that, for those of you that already have the add-on or are just getting the add-on right now, I want you to be able to just take a look at all the amazing features that come in it. So let's go and do exactly that. Just go over to Gumroad, to your library if you already have it, download it, reinstall it, refresh your Blender, and this is how it's going to be. Press Shift A in Mesh, you're going to find Precision Gears, you'll find them all there. What I like to do is right click this and add it to my quick favorites, because then I'm able to just press Q, and then here I have my Precision Gear list ready to go. I'm going to start off with a spur gear, click it, you'll see it's really big, click on here, I'll press I'll press point on my numpad, and here we have it. First thing you'll see is, hey, the defaults are different. That's right, we now have presets and good defaults. If we go over to our object properties where we're normally going to find all of our parametric settings, you're going to see that Precision Gears has a heck of a facelift. So here it is. First and foremost, presets. You can click in here. There's a whole bunch that already come with the add-on. It is awesome. It's also possible for you to create your own presets, and when you're applying presets you can decide what exactly you're applying. So for instance, this here, let's say I really want this right here. I want this bore and this lovely system in here. So I want the extrusion, and I want the set screw, and I want the bore. Don't change the tooth, don't change the base, apply that, and that's applied that to my gear. I hope that sort of makes sense, and that applies for all of the gears. So for instance, if I change this over to a rack gear, here on the presets I can go and just click apply, make sure that I have the base and tooth, and then it will change it all there. I can go maybe for the slanted one, here it is, and let's change this, let's go for an internal gear, and it's gone straight away to change that, as we know. But we can go in here, we can set this to be, let's go for the herringbone one, apply that. You know what, I don't want the herringbone, what I actually want is this one right there, but I don't want the base, I want everything else. I can apply that, or I just want the base and not that. So we'll go into all of this, click that, apply it, and it's changed that in that way. To make sense of what's going on, this is the base, and it's all the names themselves in here, up here, of what exactly the tooth mod and all the rest is. Okay, that is very quickly the preset system. All the rest is exactly the same, except we have much better gear generation at times. For instance, one of the ones that has had a big overhaul is the worm gear. This gear, oh, my view is a little bit off. Let me just set that to 0.1. This gear now is just working beautifully. You'll see that there's no problems with it as there was in the past. It was getting a little bit weird along the edges, and now you can go in here, change this even down to one tooth, and you'll be fine. As well as that, you can now change the, where is it, the resolution steps. This is the one that's going to really change things up for you. So just be aware, there's a whole bunch going on here. Now, the really exciting thing about this update is the automatic rigging. So I'm just going to quickly bring in a whole bunch of gears here. So let's just bring in lovely rack gear. Let's bring in a spur gear. Let's just duplicate that spur gear. Let's also bring in an internal gear. Move that there. Let's also bring in a bevel gear. We're going to need 2 bevel gears because that's how bevel gears work. Let's also bring in a worm gear, and let's just duplicate one of these gears because now I'm going to turn that into the worm. I always forget it. Is it the worm wheel? Basically, so that it fits a worm gear. And that will be that one there. And there's one new one, which is the GT2 gears. I've had so many people request this. This is the 2mm bump belt gears. We have those. It's amazing. It works beautifully. And we're going to need 2 of those as well. So I'll put one there, Shift D and Shift Z, move that there. Okay, let's talk about this rigging system. It can be a little bit complicated to start with, but trust me, it really is quite simple. The best way to think about it is all these gears right here, the ones that are set there, those are sort of the the parent gear. Like this gear is going to be the one that you change up, and it's going to change up the instance of the rigging system. Now, the rigging system is technically real. It's just for this all to drive very smoothly and be able to do interlocking incredibly powerfully, accurately, and all the rest, we need to do this. But just before we do that, I'm going to go in here and just make a couple of changes. I'm just going to make the height of this, maybe we'll go for like 20, no, let's make it big. Let's go for 50, and I'm also going to make this gear here just a little bit bigger. Let's go for 25, and I'll make this one here 75, and yeah, I think that's about right. Okay, now that we have this, let's start with the root gear. So the root gear is sort of the gear that you want to begin the entire drive of your system. Now, for just this example, I'm going to be using this internal gear. So this internal gear, we're going to go all the way down. Here you'll find rigging. Just turn it on, boom, and you'll see that there's all of a sudden this here. Now take a look under my head. If I just scroll this down, or if I move my face, hold on, I'll just hide my face for a moment. You'll be able to see, oh, I'm clicking the wrong one. You'll see here it says internal gear rig. That is the rig that's being created from the internal gear. So this here is now directly controlled by this gear. You can move this and put it anywhere you want. So we'll press G, we'll press Z, move it up, we'll press R, we'll rotate it on the, let's go for the X by, what, how many degrees is it this way? By 90 degrees, let's go for 90 degrees, just so you can see what's going on, okay? So if we go to this gear once again, just to show you that this is still all parametric, we can change up these teeth. It changes up the teeth on the rig as well. All right, now that we have that in place and we understand, we have the first root drive going. Now I want this gear to be driven by this lovely external gear, the internal gear. I always forget the name of them. So let's go over into our rigging. We're going to turn it on. Now, because I turned on the rigging first, it's created the rig for this. Don't worry about that. All you have to do is here where it says the driver, I like to use the eyedropper. I'm going to eyedropper this internal gear. I'm going to click this on, boom, and now you'll see it's removed that rig and it's now rigged to that internal gear. Now, I'm wanting to do something a little bit weird here. I'm wanting to shift this gears so that I can have multiple gears if I wanted to this one gear here. In fact, why not? Let's do some crazy things here. While I'm doing this video, might as well give you guys a little bit of a show. Let's go and we'll make another one of this one here. We'll change that to be 25 is a little bit small. Let's go for 35. 35, please. There we go. 35, that one there, that one there. So we've got this one rigged. I'm going to rig this one over to this as well. And now this is what I'm talking about. We're going to change some things. I'm going to click this one. Remember that this is rigged to that internal gear. So on here, you're going to see we have distance offset, tangent offset, parallel offset. So I'm going to do a tangent offset for this one. And I'm just going to tangentially offset it till it's somewhere around, let's say there, and then I'm going to go over to this gear here and I'm going to do a tangent offset itself, and I'm doing a tangent offset just so that they're not touching one another. And let's just go here, tangent offset somewhere like that, because what I'm also wanting to be driven all there is this one. I want this to be driven by this gear here. So instead of turning on the rig, I sometimes like to do the eyedropper to the rig that I'm wanting, and then I'll turn on the rig. Okay, there we have it. And again, we're going to do that tangent offset and we'll drag it all the way out here to the side. I'm going to make this one quite a bit longer. I'm going to go for something ridiculous like 100 teeth. And with 100 teeth like so, we're going to also now do a parallel offset, and we're going to go all towards one direction. Now, let's talk about animation real quickly just to see how this is going to be working. We can go to any of the gears. I'm going to just select this gear here. When we go down, we have this thing called use time. Now, the state here is sort of it's the amount the animation steps is the best way to put it. The state is the animation itself. If we move this here, you'll see how it animates. But if we set that to a state of 0 and we say, hey, let's go for a random number, every 52 frames, or let's go for every 154 frames, I want this to do one full state. So here, I'm going to click that. I'm going to give this a good 500 frames now so that it's not constantly jumping. And now when I hit play, it's now animated. Now, the keen eye of you might be going, hey, but things aren't matching up perfectly. Oops, click on this. Things aren't matching up perfectly here. How do I get that to match perfectly? Really simple. Go to one of these or the last one. We're going to go all the way down here and there's going to be a new thing, which is this here, attempt, intersect, solve. You can click all and then click attempt, intersect, solve, and it will go through the entire gear chain, making everything solved. And now you'll see that that fits absolutely beautifully and perfectly. Okay, now that we've done that, let's just carry on adding some things to this. Just go crazy. I'm going to get this worm wheel here, this worm gear. Let's increase the height of this by 100, make it nice and big. And now here we're going to start talking about the different types of riggings. You might have seen the mode here. There's two main ways of doing riggings, rotation based and compound. Now a compound gear is a gear like this. Let me just actually bring up my screen. This is a compound gear. This gear and this gear, they're connected together. So then when you have these two gears together, then this one here is a 32, this one here is a 15. So when this one turns once all the way around, this one here is going to turn twice. So that's just the different types of connection type. So let's go and let's do a compound gear, but let's really make this weird. Compound gear with a spur gear and a worm gear. So we're going to make this compound. We're going to say, hey, I want you compound to this gear here. Okay. Turn that rigging on. There you have it. Now we can do an offset within here. We're going to offset that out all the way here like that. You know what? I'm not really liking that this gear is down there. I want to bring it all the way up here. So I'm going to click on this one here, go to the angle, and I can do an angle offset all the way up here. Again, we can go here, do the intersect solve, and it will fix that up. Okay, now that we have that in place, let's go and carry on adding some weirdness to this. Let's add a bevel gear? No, let's add this one. I want to add the worm wheel to the worm gear. I get them so confused. So this gear here, I want it to now link with our worm gear here. So I'm going to do a normal rotational rigging to this one here. I'll turn on the rigging and it is now there. I'm going to do an offset, an angle change on this. Make this go, I think, let's go for a nice weird angle, somewhere like that. Now, for the keen-eyed of you, again, you're going to say, hey, well, that's not quite working. And even if I go intersect solved, the rest of you know, hey, that's not right. That gear doesn't match what it needs to be. That's why we have the match driver. Click this. It's going to match the driver now. And now when you do an intersect solve, it's going to have the exact thing that you need. So that lovely little worm wheel dip, it's now done there. Perfect. That's all good. But you know what? I want to push that up along here just a little bit. So we're going to go to that tangent offset. Oop, not the tangent offset, the parallel offset, and we'll bring it all the way up there. We'll do an intersect solve once again, and there we have it. Now I'm going to add a bevel gear to this gear, but I want this gear to be bigger if I'm going to be doing that. So I'll just go here. We'll change it to something like, let's go for 40. Let's say 40. There we have. Now we have that at 40. Again, I'll double check where we have a nice intersect solve there correctly. We'll grab this gear here. I'm going to not make it a bevel mode because I'm just going to show you what's going to happen here. If you try and do a bevel, it's going to say, hey, you can't do that. That's not a type of rigging you can create. This can only be either rotational based or compound. So let's make it compound. Let's go here. I'm going to say, I want you compound to this gear. We'll turn on the rigging now. And now we'll do that offset and we'll push it out there. But that's not quite what I'm wanting. So let's flip it so that it's the other way around. There we have it. Now with that flipped, I can pull that out there. we can go to this one here where we'll say, hey, I want that to be a bevel connection now with this one there. Fantastic. That bevel connection is now being done. Let's turn on that rigging. And here we have this lovely thing being created. Let's do an angle offset now. Let's go all the way, I think, somewhere strange like that. We'll do a nice intersect solved. Make sure everything is solving nicely. And now let's go crazier even still. Let's grab one of these. Let's make this tooth count. Let's go for 50. And I want to make this compound to this bevel gear. So I'm sure you're starting to see the workflow now. We're going to go here, change this to compound. We can turn on the rigging beforehand if we want. We'll click this and we'll say, hey, that one there, it's compound. So let's do the offset now for that. So we'll do the offset in this direction here. Perfect. And now I want to do a rotational rigging with this other one over there. Okay, we will turn on the rigging, go rotational with that gear there, and we will make that a distance offset now. Let's go for something there. And just to finish it all off, let's add this gear to be compound to that lovely GT2 gear as well. So we're going to go here, rotational. Oh, not rotational. What I'm wanting that to be is actually compound. So change that to compound to that GT2 gear. We'll turn on the rigging and then we'll just pull that out on the offset here to be somewhere like that there. And now I'm just going to make sure I go select all, do attempt to intersect solve everything. Everything is now being intersect solved, and it really is all now done. If you hit play, look at what's happening here. That is done. That is just insane. So we've hit already past the amount for that. So let's go here. Where is it? It stops at around there. So let's change that to 185. Oh no, so that's 150 frames. I've just gone way too much. Let's just make this one 185. So it will repeat every 185. So that's it. So that is Precision Gears in a nutshell. It is crazy the stuff that you can do with all of this. And just keep in mind that there's a lot of settings that are now in the rigging settings side, and there's also one extra little thing that I haven't shown you, which is we now have these attributes, which for some of you, you've been wanting this. This tells you the addendum, the dedendum, the tooth depth, all the pitch and the radius, all the details that you're wanting, they're there now. So that there is Precision Gears 0.16. I'm going to be doing an entire video about this, but just to hold you over so that you have the knowledge on how to use Precision Gears as it stands right this minute, I just wanted to get this video made with this little sort of silent update that I'm giving you all. And then from there, I'm going to be doing a crazy project to showcase this in, truly, you're going to love it. Just think laser cutting, wooden gears, and a clock, and an art piece all in one. It's probably going to take me a long time and I'm probably going to fail a lot, but there you have it. That is the new updated Precision Gears. I cannot wait to see what you're going to get making with it. Remember that if you do find anything, go to the Discord, and there's the Precision Gears channel. Let me know if there's some bugs that you're finding. If you're having issues, we can then just squash them all out and get this sorted, because truly, this has been something that I've been wanting in Blender for so long, and now that it's here, I just can't get enough of it. As you've seen, I've created that incredibly crazy setup in mere minutes for you guys. So show me what you're going to get making, and there is going to be a whole bunch of other stuff that's going to be some calculation-based things to help you get started with creating planetary gears with this, but that is still in the works right this minute. You still can do it yourself manually. Just go Google online, you'll see that there's some certain equations you need to keep to be able to do such rigs like that. Anyway, I look forward to seeing what you make, and I'll see you in the next one.